as you clicked on this video, you may be thinking, why is the title stating that the strategy is going to be different for somebody that is 30% or above body fat, any different to someone that is lower body fat? Surely it's a case of calorie deficit and get them to move more. And firstly, I'll say to you, it's a great question. And technically you are right. Technically. But there is something very, very big that we need to address here before we were to do that. And that is why this needs its own video to discuss this. Because I would then throw it back to you and say, how does somebody get to 30, 35, 40% body fat? If you sit and think about this now, how does someone get there? Because no one wants to be that level of body fat. Surely you agree. And if you are that, I'm sure if you looked in the mirror, you would agree you don't want to be that level of body fat. So then we have to understand, well, how did they get there? And realistically, giving someone like that the tactics will never fucking work. Because it runs so much deeper. There's the reasons people get to that level of body fat. It's very unfortunate. It's the sad reality of the world as to why it is they got there. And that's really what we need to address in this video. Now, of course, I will go through the process of how to get you from 30% down to 10. Of course, I'm going to give you that. And we're going to establish the goal of what actually we want. Because, yeah, we want to be 10% body fat. Give a fuck about that number. We want to be a fucking killer, not a victim. We want to be, we're in charge of life, not life's in charge of us. We want to be confident. We don't want to be feeling insecure when we're walking around places. That's the goal that we're looking for. We don't give a fuck about the percentage or the scale weight. It's irrelevant. It's just data. It's why we wanted the goal. But let's work back from the very initial stages. You see, we need to address the root cause. Giving the tactics will not work for people like that. Giving the tactics work for people that are 20% body fat, that have just got a little bit out of shape. Because people that are 20% body fat have certain habits that keep them there. People that are 30% body fat, those habits have compounded in an outward shaped funnel to get them to there. So if we do not fix that, fuck me, all of this like fitness advice is literally wasted on these types of people. Now, I'll show you some of the results I've got with these types of people, and then you can understand why maybe I'm worth listening to. But first, let's go into it. So the first thing I want to explain to you, as always, we like a drawing. So let me just put the white pen on. So we've got two baskets on a seesaw that are filled with rocks, okay? The rocks denotes someone's habits and their actions. Now, for the person that is 30% body fat or above, his habits and his actions are very, very bad. Okay, and he's done them relentlessly. So if the goal up here is to be 10% body fat, look how much heavier this fucking seesaw of rocks is. Because his identity has been built around these level of habits. His self-image is built around these level of habits. So he will do certain habits relative to his general lens and the way he views the world. Because it's the way his missus perceives him, it's the way his friends perceive him, it's the way his mother perceives him, it's the way everybody perceives him. So he then acts in accordance with his own beliefs. He then does habits relative to his own beliefs. His own beliefs are, I'm a little bit sad, I'm going to eat this food. That's just a habit. It's just, or I'm bored, I've not got anything to do, I'm going to entertain myself with food. It's funny, I had a fucking dream last night that I was in some random area and I was bored and thinking about getting food. Like, this shit is so deep and ingrained in our brains that that's what we do. If we've been lonely for a few days, we think, oh, maybe I'll go entertain myself and go and get some food. I noticed myself doing this the other day. I literally just grinded out work for about 3 days straight, didn't really see anybody. I was like, I'm just going to go out and get some food. And I stopped myself in my tracks. I was like, This is me just trying to entertain myself. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but this happens. If it happens at my level, it's compounding all the way up to the top. So your habits are obviously going to then determine your self-image and who you are. Now, to get to 30% or above body fat, these habits have been fucking ingrained in there for a long period of time, and they're bad habits. They're sit around on the sofa, they're go and get comfort food. I know because I've worked with people like this, and they admit it, and they say to me, I just fucking cheated last night. I felt sad, and I used to have a client when I was working in Dubai. Big guy, very big guy, nice guy, but he would say to me, sorry, I binged last night. I felt sad and I binged. Because I can't say to him, don't binge. That is useless advice. Useless. We have to address the root cause. The root cause is normally loneliness. It's normally lack of confidence. It's normally lack of general self-image and how you perceive yourself in the world. So what we need to do is take some rocks out of this basket, because we need to swing the balance in our favor. Of course we do. I can't give you the diet plan, or the guy that's 30% body fat, the diet plan, and expect him to follow it. What I need to do first is I need to start taking rocks out of his basket. Because otherwise I'm going to be, it's like I'm swimming upstream. This is swimming upstream. If I'm trying to coach someone to get from here to here without taking the rocks out of the basket, fuck me, it's going to be a very hard day to try and get this to swing in the balance, isn't it? It's literally like I'm going to be swimming upstream with everything we possibly do. And that's a stupid way to go, and it's a stupid way for me to coach. So I have to take rocks out of the basket. So, bad habit number 1. Eats raw, poor comfort foods. Okay, so we need to stop that from happening. How do we stop that from happening? We ask him, what friends do you have? Well, I've got 2 friends and yeah, we get on with this. Okay, cool, right. Instead of comfort eating, you're going to go out and see these 2 friends. Structure that into your daily schedule. Go and do that right now. Okay, cool. So now I've got some social interaction. I'm going to feel a little bit better about myself. Let's hope, by the way, these friends aren't fucking also really fucking fat. Obviously, then it'd be a problem. Because as well as cutting out habits, I always ask them, what people are actually keeping you here? And dare I say it, I'm not going to tell you who to cut out your life, because I'm just some guy on the internet, but I would ask you just to really think, is this person driving you towards your goal or keeping you in this position you want here? Because no one wants to be 30% body fat, but they don't know how the fuck to get out of it. So maybe you need to ask yourself, who do I need to cut out, as well as what do I need to cut out? So we continue to pull these rocks out of the basket. Instead of being bored and sat around on the sofa, we go out and we walk. Instead of just streaming bullshit on fucking TV that's making us more depressed, or streaming social media, seeing shit that we don't have and life is fucking crap, what could we actually be putting in our minds? Like, you'd be surprised if you just cut out the fucking news for once, like, you wouldn't be so fucking depressed. I say this to people all the time. I even see my dad watching it. I'm like, why do you watch the fucking news? Like, it's a brilliant concept. They just put negativity out there and keep you fucking fed in like this, looking at the screen. It's fucking amazing. But as soon as you realise that and you stop watching it, life is so much better. Like, because why would you want to bring negativity into your life? Like, why? Like, how does it benefit or serve you? It doesn't, does it? So just cut it straight out. So you need to do that in your own life. There's a habit. Cut that out straight away. Replace it with another good habit. You actually need to understand, if you take out a habit, you can't just leave it empty, because it'll just get refilled back again with what you already know, because that's what's comfortable and that's what's easy to do, and the body and the brain likes to do easy shit. You need to put that in with something new that is slightly achievable. So it's a case of, can we do 6,000 steps? Okay, cool. Can we take out that 30 minutes of looking at the news and go and do 2,000 to 3,000 steps? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, cool. While we're there, what could we listen to? Oh, maybe a podcast that's on my goals of the field I'm working in. Okay, cool. So we can do that. And it's a very, very minor thing. But just by doing this minor thing, we completely change the trajectory of how we're going. Let me just show you something here. And I show this in a lot of videos. We watch the news, we feel scared. We feel scared, we need something to comfort us. We need something to comfort us, we turn to sugar. We turn to sugar, we get a bit fat. We get a bit fat, so we feel worse about ourselves. We feel worse, so then we watch the news for some fucking easy comfort. And it just spirals on. If I told you don't watch the news, Go out and listen to a podcast. Oh, I walked 30 minutes today. I feel better about myself. That podcast gave me an idea for my business. I implemented that. It got good response. I'll continue to listen to podcasts and walk. Everything goes up in an upward spiral. We need to ensure this still happens on a day-to-day basis. So we need to understand what do we need to cut out. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is very, very, very important. This is how someone with feminine energy, and you may be a man watching this, and you may not think you're feminine, but if it looks like this when you try to achieve your goals, you are being feminine. Set a goal here. Start moving towards the goal here for 5 days. Then this thing happens and we went backwards a little step. And then our friend asked us, can we go to the pub? And you've not seen him in a while, so you do that. Oh, fuck, I had 3 pints. Okay, cool. So we went backwards on our goals a bit here. Cool. Oh, right. I'm back on it. I'm back on it. Boom. We went 2 weeks this time. Yeah, perfect. And then, do you know what? We've got holiday. Backwards. And then up, sideways now because we maintained on holiday and it wasn't that bad. And then boom, back towards our goals. And then, no, right. I fucked up. I really fucked up this time. And I'm not sure I even want to get in shape. It's just too hard. Like I try and it doesn't really work. And then I try again. But this is the year, 2024. Yeah, we're going to do it. Okay, boom. Yeah, gains. And then that's how it looked. And you just move around like this in a fucking circle. How would a masculine man get towards his goals? Starts at A, understands where B is, here, and thinks, how can I go from here to here in the quickest time frame? Follows the process, ticks off the steps along the way, doesn't waste any fucking time. That's how we need to move you in your goals. But it's hard because you've had all this ingrained into you for such a long period of time and you're doing little daft fucking habits like this on a day-to-day which spiral you downstream. So no wonder it's so hard to get from A to point fucking B. It sounds simple. Calorie deficit, move more, go from fucking 30% body fat to 10% body fat. It's a week by week time frame of you getting there. I could tell you now, it's probably 30 to 32 weeks away for you getting to the goal. It's not that hard. It's actually really, really simple. What you need to do is very, very simple. But it always looks like this because we don't fix the problem. If we don't fix the root cause of the problem, you will not get from A to B. You will flip around like this, like everyone else fucking does when they're trying to lose weight. Excuse me. We charged up with coffee this morning, boys. So, what we've started to understand now is it's not really even about the physique. It's not really about the fucking abs, the 10% body fat. What we're starting to understand when we're 30% body fat or above, it's about the man you need to become. It's about changing up here. The physique will take care of itself. I say that plenty of times on this channel. I say it on Instagram. I say it everywhere because that's what it's really about. It was never about the fucking 10% body fat. It's about the man you need to become. So how do we turn you from this, from fucking 30% and above loser to the man you need to become? You want to know the quickest way to get there? You want to know the quickest way? It is to see yourself as you already are at B. Now, as I say that may sound stupid advice. It isn't, and I'll tell you why it's not stupid advice. If you think you're already the man that is at B, you will now think, I am an athlete. How would an athlete act in this very scenario? And you're now viewing yourself, or you're now viewing how would an athlete act. So you're not thinking with emotion, you're thinking with logic. Well, how would an athlete act? How would a fucking spaceship fucking driver act? How would an astronaut act? That's what you're thinking. You're thinking with logic. So you would then think, okay, the athlete would, right, he'd prepare his meals for tomorrow so that when some stupid thing came up, he'd already have his meals. He would write out in a schedule when he goes and does shit, when he goes and does his steps, when he goes and does his training, when he does his work, etc., etc., etc. So that is how you're going to believe you're at B. You're not some fat guy trying to lose weight. You are now an athlete from this point forward. And that is the only way you're going to actually get from point A to point B, is you need to know you are an athlete. You won't believe it just yet. I understand that. But what will happen then? If you structure out a day, if you now tell yourself, I'm an athlete, and you structure out today, with what to do, and you go and execute on that, what are you now forming? New habits, new rocks in the good basket towards your goals, so we're not swimming upstream. That is what you're now forming. We're now tipping the balance in our favour, so you are now coming downstream. That is exactly what we needed. So we need to act like we're already at B. When I was in the army, in the British Army, and even when I look back to when I was in basic training, the reason why they were able to take literal vermin off the streets of the UK, myself included, and turn them into fucking paratroopers, the top 1% of fitness across the whole of the country, is literally by doing this. They took top leaders that were trainers and they gave us a strict schedule to follow, hour by hour by hour. Now, it was on steroids, what I'm telling you, because we weren't allowed our phones. We were all locked in with 50 other people that had the same goals. And it was fucking insane. Honestly, it was so good. So they were able to transform us because everything was structured on a day-to-day. And not only that, they were there with us every day. Yous will be paratroopers. Paratroopers are the fucking top 1% of the army. Everyone else is crap hats. You want to be a crap hat? Fuck off and go join them. In our ear, every day. You could say it's brainwashing. It was the fucking best thing for us. Of course, we were going to transform from vermin to paratrooper. Literal zero to hero. It's the biggest transformation I've done in my life. And it all happened in a 6-month period. It can happen for you as well. But you need to structure out your day. That's the quickest thing you could do. That's if you took one thing from this video, just write out what you're going to do tomorrow, today. When you're going to wake up, when you're going to eat meal one, when you're going to do your steps, when you're going to walk, when you're going to train, etc., 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 and tick them off day by day by day. And the night before, you set an alarm, 9 o'clock, rewrite tomorrow's list. Do it, tick it off, and you start to stack habits towards the man that you need to become. And that is what it was all about. It's about becoming the man you need. It's not about the abs. It's not about getting in shape. It's about the man you need to become to get in shape. When you start to think like that, when you start to act like that, then everything will change. Then everything will come in your favour. But until you do that, you will remain 30 or plus % body fat for the rest of your fucking life because you're trying to fix with tactics. Tactics don't work. Just like if you gave me the tactics to run $1 million business, I would fuck it up. Because I'm not the man yet I need to become that could run $1 million business. Of course I'm fucking not. That's just astronomical from where I am right now. I'm not saying it won't happen. It will happen at some point in my life, 100%. I know I'm probably capable of it, but I'm not ready for it yet. So I need to understand the principles of how to do that before I get the fucking tactics, because the tactics won't work for me, because it won't resonate and it won't make sense. So I can give you the calories, I can give you the steps, I can give you the training plan. It won't work unless you fix this. It won't work unless you structure your day out tomorrow, today. It won't work unless you get up in the morning and make your fucking bed. It won't work if you don't get up in the morning and have a fucking shower, look at yourself in the mirror, brush your teeth, and do the small shit. The small shit matters. Why does the small shit matters? Because of this. Because if you don't do it, you didn't brush your teeth this morning, your breath is slightly smellier, you're going to be less confident when you walk outside and go and speak to people. But the same goes the other way. If you fucking brushed them really well and flossed in between and they were looking a little bit whiter than usual, you're going to be out smiling, talking to people. And everything spirals from there. And that's why this is so fucking important and it's worth spending 19 minutes into this video to address that first. The last thing I'll say on this is visualization. Visualization sounds like a little bit of a wishy-washy, mythy thing. It isn't. And I'll tell you why, and I'll bring it into like reality. When I was in the army, I would have to speak in front of a large crowd of people, let's say 150 people. Now, that sounds quite challenging and daunting. But what I did before this was, I just visualized how everything was going to go, from how the room looked was set up, where the people were sat, to what I was going to be wearing, to then the way I was going to deliver. And obviously I visualize and practice the speech again and again and again. So I constantly have good thoughts going through my mind. All of the guys on my program at the minute doing the transformation, I visualize how their before and afters are going to look. I visualize putting it up on Instagram and being like, fuck yes, that's another one closer towards the goal that I've set myself for this year. I visualize the good shit happening on a day-to-day basis. Why wouldn't you? Because you're programming your mind to then think and act in that certain way. When we think and act in a certain way, our then habits then go towards it, and then we start to pull rocks out of here towards here. Rather than thinking about clients aren't going to make it, or they're going to leave me beforehand, or they're going to just fuck it up. Why would I think like that? Because then I'll act in accordance with those goals. I need to act in accordance with the good outcome that we possibly want to be receiving. So that's the last thing I'll say on that. We understand how you do one thing will then fuck everything else up. It works the other way. The reason most people's goals look like this is because they're fucking feminine and don't act with just basic masculine aggression. We want to move from A to B, but to do so, we need to act like we're already at B. We already are the athlete. How will the athlete act? We structure our day out. We tick off the habits. We improve our habits. Our habits then improve our identity. And then our identity improves. The people that thought we were a fat piece of shit, even our family and friends, now don't see us like that, and they see us transform. Now, it's very easy for me because I went in the Paris and I was away from everyone, so I could become a new version of me. Maybe you haven't got that luxury, but if you do, I would say move away and just fucking absolutely send it for a year and become a new version of you. If you haven't, then you're just going to prove everyone that they're wrong and you're right, and you're going to stack a new identity. Now, let's go into what we want. So, we need to set the goal. The goal is 10% body fat, but no, the goal is you are going to become a fucking killer of life. You're not a victim. Life is not happening for you. I did a contract in the Middle East last October to January. And the guy I was living with in my room, he was a fucking victim. He would moan to me every day about the government, about his fucking ex-missus, about people that got jobs over him, and everything was someone else's fault apart from his, because he's a fucking victim, and that's why life was shit for him. Literally, the moment you realise, if I'm a victim, life will happen like to me rather than for me, you're gonna have a miserable life. Like, you really are. And you can pass things off and go, oh, it's not my fault, but like, it doesn't matter if it's your fault, it's your fucking problem. So you have to just take it. Like, what's the other alternative? You still want to get bent over by life and bitched about? Of course you don't. No one wants to be a fucking bitch, do they? No one sees themselves as a bitch either. That's the thing. But the moment you start complaining, you're a fucking bitch because you're not in control. Whereas if you just took ownership of every situation in your life, like you have the complete control because you do, because you're a man, if you're watching this, I'm sure you probably are, then life becomes a lot better because you're in control of everything that's happening. So you can become a fucking killer because you can control everything. And you really can. I've noticed that this year. Everything I've just decided, it's in my control. I will change it. I will make it happen. And life is fucking beautiful right now. I love the good. I love the bad. So we have to enjoy fucking whatever comes, because it's always a lesson anyway. Like, if you think you're a good person and meant for good things, they will come to you. And everything that is happening to you is not. It's happening for you to get to that point. We want to be active over reactive. Remember going back to structuring the day? If you structure the day, you've got your meals with you, haven't you? So when you need to take your fucking loved one to A&E because they fucking, I don't know, broke their fucking leg or some shit. God forbid that doesn't happen. It was just an example. But you've got your meal with you. So you don't need to eat out the fucking vending machine in the hospital because you've got your meal with you. So you stay on plan because you were active instead of reactive. If you're reactive to life, you won't get to the goal. I'll tell you right now. Because you're acting like a victim. You won't get to the goal. So you need to be active, in charge, the killer. Now that's going to bring you confidence. It's going to make you a new man. Now that is what you really wanted. What you really wanted was to walk around confident in your own fucking skin, in your own flesh, because then you would pursue the world in a better way, in a way of enjoyment. You'd speak to more people, you'd make better connections, you'd maybe have a better partner. I'm not saying get rid of your partner if you do have one, but everything would improve through you being more confident, yes or no? So surely that is what it really was about. It was about the man you needed to become so you could be more confident and just enjoy life. It sounds simple going from 30% to 10% body fat, but it's not about the percentage. It's about the confidence and how you can generally have a better life because of it. People think like getting in shape is like a nice thing to do. It's not. It's an absolute necessity. It's an absolute necessity to be in good shape because of everything that comes with it. The fact you're in good shape is like the last little trophy on top. It's the fact that you know how to apply discipline. That goes into every area of your life. It's about the fact that you know how to do hard shit when you don't want to do it. That applies to every area in your life. That's why this is so important. That's why getting in shape is literally mission critical for your life and success. Everything starts with the body and the mind. Everything else will then follow. So it's important that we set the goal and you understand why you wanted it. Really do think, why do I want this and how will it change my life? Then we go into the process. 25 minutes into the video, I will tell you the process. So let's say, for example, you started at 110 kilos and 35% body fat. We want to get to 10% body fat, and that's going to look at 78.6 kilograms. So it's a fair drop. We'd agree it's, 31 and a bit kilos. So the time frame for that is going to be about 32 weeks. Now, you cannot diet for 32 weeks and run that successfully. I don't care who you are. And to be honest, it would just be a real fucking miserable experience. So, this is the way I would structure it. You can diet for 20 weeks efficiently. So I would do that to start with. With your calories, now what you can do in this initial phase is actually go fairly low. Not ridiculously low, but let me put some numbers to this. So if you're 110 kilos and 35% body fat, your lean tissue is 71.5 and your resting metabolic rate is 1,914. Never take it below this number, but when you're 35% body fat, you can actually take it fairly close to it. Now, you may have heard me speak about in the past when we're dieting people down, I don't like to go too low calorie because I like to keep food high, dry performance in the gym. But when you've got 35% body fat, there's a lot of fucking stores on there. So you can go a bit lower. Now, let's say you're moderately active, you train 3 to 5 days a week, you're on the average, so your maintenance calories would have been just shy of 3,000. If you're a little bit more sedentary, which, I don't know, maybe people like this actually are, let's say your maintenance is here. So, either way, we don't want to take the calories below RMR. That's a non-negotiable, but you can pretty much put them on RMR. Now, protein target is important. Now, what people say is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, we can see that would be really wasted here because where someone is that fat, they don't need that much protein. It's the lean tissue that needs the protein. So, in that event, if that happens, another metric you can use for a quick example would be your height in centimeters. But anyway, we've worked this out. This guy would need 172 grams of protein, 55 fat, and 200 grams of carbs. So that is with 1,979 calories. And you could run that for a long period of time. And if you put someone on that, I mean, straight away, just by putting someone on a plan, they will lose fucking weight because of all the shit they were eating. If you just put them on whole foods, they will lose weight very, very quickly. What sort of rate can we see them lose weight? You're looking 1% of the scale weight per week. So this guy's going to be dropping a kilo a week for 20 weeks, no problem. If he's 110 down to 90, that's 1.1 on the scale a week or 0.9. That's pretty much a kilo a week for 20 weeks. So no problem, that can happen. As long as they're coached appropriately, they're managed, you fix in all this first, you can drop a kilo a week. Absolutely no problem. And you need to in the beginning. Like I've had a few new people start with me that are in this position. You need to drop those kilos quick in the beginning because we need the motivation to come from what they can see. We have to get after the habits really fast, see the kilos drop week on week, then motivation starts to build, new habits start to build, and then the momentum can start to take us down towards the end of the 20 weeks. Output, 10,000 steps. I would leave cardio out for as long as I could because the calorie deficit will do a lot of the work for you. The steps is good. I would save on the output. When it comes to training, if someone's 35% body fat, I don't think they'd have been training before, really. Not properly anyway. So you could actually get away with a 3-day split of full body, of course, full body if you're doing a 3-day split. Still hit the muscle twice a week. Still do your main movements, your multi-joint exercises, horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, vertical pull, hip flexion, knee flexion, elbow flexion, like main stuff. Hit your main movers. Obviously, if you're male, you want to focus on the upper body. Make sure you still got some arms and stuff in there. And you can run that training split, no problem. Absolutely no problem. Now, as you get down towards, let's say you've pulled 20 kg, so you've gone 110, 100, 90 now at this point. You're then going to have a 4-week diet break. Diet break, not fucking reversing back to what you used to do. So you're just going to bring the calories back up to maintenance ever so slightly. And you're just going to sit for 4 weeks on this, still continue to train hard. I mean, there'd be like deload weeks, maybe. Yeah, you'd have deload weeks within this 24-week period anyway, so because you know how training cycles should work. So you'll do that, and then 4 weeks off where you're looking to just bring food back, get the body back to being responsive to dieting, get the mind back to like eating normal food. This is where they could maybe go on holiday. This is where they could have a few meals out with family and friends and just feel like a little bit more of a normal human being, because I do appreciate dieting. It is tough. Like, I've done it a couple of times. It's still tough. Of course it is. So we need to take that into consideration and make sure that they're in a good space. Now, after that, this is where the fun can really start to happen. You've got them to 90. Let's say you maintain 90, or even you went to 92 in that 4-week period. Not the end of the world. You're now going to go from 92 down to the fucking the 10%, and this is where you've now brought them into the same spectrum as everyone else. They're probably sat around 20% at this point. So now we can have some real fucking fun. Now things need to look a little bit different. When we set the calories up at this point, we actually don't want to take them as low. I would actually rather keep them as high as possible. So let's say even around here. Now, obviously, they'll be slightly different, so we'd need to re-put the numbers in. Let's say that, all right, they put a little bit on 92, and they were 20% body fat. So RMRs here, they're a bit more active now, because obviously they've been with us fucking 20 weeks, of course they're more active. So at this point, we're not going to put them in a drastic deficit, but we are going to put them in a deficit fucking right. So 500 calories to start with. This still gives us a lot of room to play with. Protein's still around the same. You'll notice the carbs are a bit higher now. Now, this is where we need to really be meticulous with the way we train and eat, because we want to drive performance in the gym. Now, it's at this point, we're not just thinking body fat, body fat, body fat. We're thinking body fat, muscle as well. And you should have built some good tissue across 24 plus weeks. So the training, I'd be looking more at a 5-day split, tailored towards a men's physique upper body. So you're looking, make sure you hit the main upper body 2 times a week with plenty of volume, 15 sets or so across those areas. Output, you're now going to look to increase output a lot more and keep calories as high as you can, because it'll drive performance in the gym. So output is going to go up every time the scale weight starts to plateau. 20 minutes cardio, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, boom, boom, boom. No more than an hour, because it just gets fucking silly. And then you're going to start pulling from food. You're going to keep going down until they get to that 10% body fat. Now, a lot of the good habits would have been stacked into 20 weeks. And it's then a case of then they're really starting to believe they're an athlete. If you've gotten to this point, they're really, really starting to believe they're an athlete. So you can really have some good fucking fun. And they're almost like the normal transformations that you would see me do at this point. Let me just show you some quick results. So this guy here, we pulled off 20 kilos in 16 weeks. So it can be done fast. But this guy had the strong mindset. This guy was ex-military. He knew his shit. He just needed someone in his corner to push him, and we did. We pushed him hard to get to this point. We lost 20 kg, but he's not 30% when he started. He was like mid-20s, or like towards maybe in between 25 and 30. I can't remember the exact amount. So we literally dropped a kilo a week. Well, obviously more than a kilo a week for 16 weeks. We've gotten to that point. I've had another client where we've lost 23, started at 115, he's now at 92. Now, it's not finished yet, but that one we had to do more, how I've explained in this video. I can't show photos because I'm not actually asked him to use any photos. This guy I have. So we need to think about, we need to think of it like that. So we can expect it's going to be a tough process. Of course it is. Is it doable? Absolutely. But what we need to remember is, it's about the man you need to become. It's about moving this in our favour so we can move down towards the goal. So, boys, I hope you found this useful. If you are 30-35% body fat, it's fucking hard to come down to 10. Of course it is, because we've got to change a lot of shit. So, if you want me to help you and do this for you, there'll be a link in the description. Book a call and I'll fucking change your life, absolutely. I hope you found this video of value. If you did, just subscribe, because I'll keep pumping more shit out like this anyway. And if you just want to see like what I get up to on a day-to-day, like, you can follow me on Instagram, see if you like what I'm about. And you can see more of like my military background and stuff on there, and like what my past has looked like to the point here. I think it's important for people to get that feel before they even like invest in someone and see, oh, what's this guy about? So check that out. There'll be links in the description. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you, of course, tomorrow.